is good to YouTube? It's your boy Black Uchi, 3 long face, skinny body, and we are back, still black with some more fire Boruto manga related content. Now you already know the dealio. Before we get in the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, share the video with your friends. It's been nearly 2 weeks since we had time to discuss this greatness, so let's hop straight to the business, Yasursky.
9 mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. 1 chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
As of today, the recording of this video, we actually have the sneak peek for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 20 on the official Naruto/Boruto website that they typically drop 1 to 2 spoilers, 1 to 2 sneak peeks prior to the actual release of the chapter, today being the first of said pair of releases. And we got a look at my guy Mitsuki, of course, full-blown Sage mode, going fully at it against my guy Ryu. The fight is still continuing. The stakes are probably even higher as things are picking up for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 19. Now, prior to the release of these sneak peeks, I already wanted to talk about the foregone conclusion of this battle, right? Just eliminating any factor of outside influences, because I've spent a lot of time on the channel discussing instances where figures like Code can pop up, right? Figures like Boruto obviously can pop up. Figures like Kawaki can pop up. I even mentioned things in the matter of Konohamaru, right? Somehow saving the day, not just in his own fight and skerfuffle that's going on with against Matsuri, but somehow correlating or allowing the fact of Ryu to notice something's wrong and possibly retreat from his fight by ultimately resulting in saving, Sarada, Mitsuki, Araya, and Yodo. All of these different outside factors, but let's just focus on the fight for now. Let's focus on the fight in general. Winner, loser. Someone's gonna be forced to retreat. What's gonna happen? Team 7 with Team Shinki no Shinki versus this guy Ryu. The sword has been thrown out of the mist, right? And prior to the sneak peek, we already understood the heavy hitters in the battle is already stated by my guy Araya was going to be Mitsuki and Sarada. They were going to be the ones focusing on attacking. They were going to be the ones focusing on trying to, get the one up on my guy Ryu to see if they can ultimately overcome him and end the battle as swiftly and quickly as possible. Now, in the spoiler, in the sneak peek, we see on a beautiful panel, and mind you, and I say this time and time again, but especially since 2 Blue Vortex release, my guy Ikimoto is snapping with these art panels, right? But we see my guy Mitsuki, Koden and Chakra surrounded by all of this iron sand, right? But his ethereal snakes are pressing and putting the pressure on my guy Ryu as he's jumping backwards. The snakes are diving into the ground. The typical moves, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's fast, it's powerful, and it's, it's fire. So I really like whenever Mitsuki uses his snake sage modes. Hopefully he can pull out some snake clones in this chapter. Maybe some type of, move behind the hidden move and possibly whip out snake lightning or even a purple lightning type of jutsu, because Mitsuki got some stuff in the bag. Even whip out some wind style. He can do a combination type jutsu, right? But I feel like, just looking at the way this panel is set up, right, guys, this might even be a setup for another move, like I just said, hidden behind a move, or a setup for Sarada to come through from the blind spot. Because we know, if one thing's for sure and it's ain't for certain, Sarada will tag somebody with that damn Chidori in her hand. That's one thing I've learned about the character thus far. So maybe it's another setup for Sarada to swoop in and probably Chidori this man Ryu's head off. But it's going to be a lot more to take into that account, right? So now that we actually have Araya's sword out of the picture, how cooked is this team? Is Team 7 really like in some deep dungeon dookie right now, which is actually the case because we understood the significance of Araya's sword and the role that it ultimately played before Ryu meticulously and calculatively took it out of the scene and took away the advantage that they currently had on him over the battle. I've stated in the time and time again, right, that I believe their best bet, aside from both Mitsuki and Sarada overpowering or overwhelming Ryu, in order for them to keep their momentum in this fight, right, somebody has to locate or pinpoint the weakness with Ryu's Iron Sand. Ideally, the main ability to control others around him. Now, there can be some type of, a trick behind it where his chakra has to be attached to the sand at all times, or they have to notice or realize the sand around them. And it's not possible for it to simply automatically take control of you just because it's in the air. But once you notice it and have awareness of it, it is actually feasible to, counteract and dodge the Iron Sand. So there can be something along those lines. Sarada's Sharingan will be very crucial in spotting the minute and smallest details in Ryu's Iron Sand, in his chakra network, and also the weakness in terms of, how to get around this ability without, especially my guy Area's sword. So by the looks of this sneak peek page, it looks like the fight is still going on. So it's not necessarily a situation where Ryu takes control of the entire battlefield. Everybody is at his becking and call, and he forces everybody to fight and kill each other. But somehow, some way, they are still forcing confrontation and conflict amongst this guy, Ryu. So my best bet to say it's going to be a very difficult one. I'm probably even going to say high difficulty, extreme high difficulty. But I see Team 7 and Team Shinki no Shinki coming out on top against this guy, Ryu. Now, the question lies, there will be a defeat within this current mission, whether it be between Matsuri and Konohamaru or Ryu and Team 7 and Team Shinki no Shinki. There will be a defeat. It's just a matter of how things will go about, and it's a matter of who and what side it lies on. Now, it can be either or it can be both. Now, most likely to be both. I don't see Konohamaru and Matsuri taking out each other. It's been very, very heavily speculated Konohamaru might be taken out by Matsuri, and it's been very heavily speculated that my guy Ryu might be taken out by Team 7. You know what I'm saying? So, for the most part, at least for what I'm seeing around the community, Matsuri is kind of in a safe zone because there's too many questions regarding around Matsuri. The connection, the influence around the characters, and her importance, not just in the story itself, but amongst the Shinju. Does she play a role in the creation of other Shinjus? Does she play a role in the connections between the deep roots and the trees all around the world and how they relate to the Shinju as well? There's too many mysteries regarding Matsuri. However, for Ryu, not only would people want to see Shinki back into the story, doing possibly some of the things that we see Ryu doing, seeing all of the beautiful pages and panels with the Iron Sand, but Shinki, admittedly so, is a much loved anime character, right? So it's going to be a lot of fans, a lot of people looking forward to Shinki's reintroduction, his actual reintroduction into the story, despite them taking away the whimsical and amazing dialogue that the character of Ryu himself actually brings. Now, Ryu, to me, just from what we've seen, is possibly the second most dangerous Shinju because of two factors, right? Because one, he's obviously way overpowered and he's hexed. So this Iron Sand is not just strong, but it's hexed. There's so many things he can do with it, and he himself can literally turn into Iron Sand. But two, despite all of this overwhelming power, he willingly defers to other authorities. So it's even hard to say, well, is Ryu superior to someone like Matsuri? And even the question, is Ryu superior to someone like Hidari or even possibly Jura? Is the potential there for him to surpass Jura simply because of his, personality, the way he decides to go about himself and utilize his characteristics in terms of operation and going on his day-to-day tasks? He shows instances of extreme power, of being able to wield power with no deference according to anybody, right? But also showing the willingness to be an underling, the willingness to have senpai, the willingness to have superiors, and the willingness to follow orders and to hold back on his restraint, on his initial urges, basically saying he wanted to walk around killing all shinobi he saw. Jura said don't do it, so he simply didn't do it. He doesn't do things without a reason. So it's actually a very, very extremely dangerous character. The fight is picking up. The fight is looking good. Now, I said the key things are going to be if they can somehow figure out a way to overwhelm Ryu, but also to figure out the true weakness of his Iron Sand. Because with Area's sword, it was simple. We use the sword to control the Iron Sand. We can make him form his body again. We could detect wherever he's popping out of, and we can disperse any type of Iron Sand he wants to use as an attack that's coming towards us. Now they're going to have to figure out a way to fight effectively in this fight without those means. And Sarada's Sharingan can be key to spot certain weaknesses and minute details amongst the sand. But as far as them being prevented from, having their bodies taken over, how are they going to go about that? Can they simply simply overwhelm Ryu. We've seen in chapter 19 the attacks that both Sarada and Mitsuki are showcasing and landing on this guy Ryu will have effectiveness, especially in the case that he is actively trying to dodge them. He is actively trying to avoid being hit by both Sarada and Mitsuki. So we know that their attacks will have meaning once fully landed or partially landed. So they're going to have to figure out a way to completely overwhelm this guy. And ultimately, it's possible. But like I said, man, it's possible also that they're cooked, right? But ultimately finish off the fight in its own. They can make Ryu, retreat, and I can also see him retrieving the sword throne bow. Both of those scenarios playing out fully can be shown in my head right now. It's just a matter of how they go about it. So it's your boy Black Uchiha, Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, chapter 20, sneak peek page. We got my guy Sagemo Mitsuki going right at it against this guy Ryu. The Iron Sand, the shots are looking beautiful. The chapter will be releasing soon. It's your boy Black Uchiha. Let me know how y'all feel about the spoilers. Let me know what y'all are anticipations for upcoming Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 20. And holla at your boy. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Black Uchiha out. Yes, sir. Ski.